Welcome into another episode of Outside Shots. We are back. Your guy, Eddie Johnson. I'm Saul Bookman. I'm in Chicago, so that's why the backdrop looks a little different than usual. But we have some Suns fans here in Chicago, and they actually did have some gear, some merch to put behind us. It's actually a shirt from the 89 squad, which is pretty dope. So KJ, Hornacek, and Dan Marley's on there. Unfortunately, your guy EJ is not on there, so I apologize for that, EJ.
I mean, I can understand why I wasn't on there. I can. I guess averaging 22 points a game in 28 minutes, shooting 50%, 42 from three, about 90 from the line. I guess it wasn't good enough to put EJ on there. Now, let me repeat that again. Averaging 22 points in 28 minutes. But I guess EJ just didn't do enough to be on the show.
Sixth man of the year as well.
Well, that was at the end of it. This was probably during the season when I was doing work that, it wasn't, the people that made the damn T-shirt didn't think to put EJ on the shirt.
If it makes you feel any better, EJ, that season when you did win sixth man of the year was the first season I was ever able to go to a game, and my dad took me. And my first ever poster, as I've told you many times before, was an Eddie Johnson poster.
Did I sign it for you?
No, you actually ignored me and just walked straight past me.
Well, maybe you weren't tall enough.
Okay. All right, cool. That's cool.
You little bitty guy. I look right over the top of you.
I don't think I've ever been accused of being a little bitty.
Hey, everybody, can you imagine Saul, little bitty dude, but he still got a beard? But he had a beard back then.
Listen, when I was 8 years old, I was a fat little baby. I promise you that. I was a chunky ass kid when I was small, for sure.
You were 8 years old?
Yeah, 9 years old.
I'm not. Hold. How old are you again?
Right now?
Yeah.
You want to go down this road? I'm 45.
You're 45 years old.
I am.
I'm 20 years older than you.
You are. Yeah. It was. Hey, listen.
You need. But here's the thing. You need to respect me a little bit more. Like now that I like really have like let this soak into me. Do you understand that you could have been my kid?
I mean, yeah, I guess.
I mean, I'm old enough to be your dad.
You are.
So what I want you to do for now,
I'm not calling you dad.
I want you to call me dad.
Don't even go down that road, please.
Call me daddy.
I'm about to end this show right now. That is the most disturbing thing I have ever heard in my life. No grown man should ever tell another grown man to call him daddy. No. We're not doing that today. Oh my gosh. That's not the only disturbing thing. I listen, I'm not going to pile on you today. I'm not trying to make a bad situation worse. But I am here in Chicago. It's the first time I've ever been in Chicago and visited. I went to a Bears game yesterday, and oh my gosh, that was a disaster. What a terrible game from the Bears. But I wanted to pick your spirits up a little bit, EJ. I'm not going to talk about the Bears. I wanted to let you know that not only are you not alone, but there is also another fan base that I feel like is probably having it a little bit worse. Shane?
I'm watching the Jets right now. I don't think I can survive much longer. Oh my God. Oh my God. Aaron Rodgers throwing another interception. What's going on? Nick, what is going on? I can't stand this much longer. What is going on, Nick?
Does that make you feel any better, Eddie?
No, that was me yesterday. That was me yesterday. I'm telling you, I feel the same way about Mike Eberflub. Flus really is his name, but I call him Flub. I question. I think they had some firings during the course of the season, right? Jets fired somebody. Didn't the Saints just fire somebody? They should have fired him yesterday at halftime. They literally should have fired him at halftime.
I mean, the Boo Birds were coming out after the first quarter. They didn't even wait to the end of the game. So I totally.
I feel. Look, think about the quarterbacks we've had over the years, and everybody always want to blame the quarterbacks, right? Trubisky, because obviously he got drafted ahead of Patrick Mahomes and Watson, and now, Justin Fields, they're not happy with him. They blame stuff on him. And now the kid, Caleb Williams. So when does it get to a point where the Bears ownership and organization, they go out and they actually get people that have done it at a high level and stop hiring people that we barely freaking know? I'm talking about Ryan Poles. I'm talking about Eberflus, all of them.
Yeah.
Like, it's to the point now when it's not the quarterback's fault. I'm done and tired of that. I mean, Justin Fields goes to Pittsburgh. They're sitting up 7-2. Now, I know he's not in the starting lineup still right now, but still, he got the job done on a Pittsburgh team that wasn't highly thought of. We got one of the best defenses in football, man. And I'm telling you, man, this dude, man, he runs a draw play. He runs a draw play, and it's like 2nd and 12. But sorry, a draw play, and it was 2nd and 3. He runs a draw play, and like that's gonna fool somebody. And then now they're 3rd down and 6 because they lost 3 yards. Yeah. It's stuff like that. He throws screen passes, man, and it almost got picked off. I mean, he's got this kid playing so robotic, it's ridiculous. And I feel sorry for Caleb Williams. I do. I feel sorry for the dude, Caleb Williams. It's not his fault, man. He can't. They have no offensive line, nothing. I'm over it. Yeah. I sat there yesterday knowing that they lost to the New England Patriots. They stink. Like one time in New England Patriots history, they literally stink. And we can't even score on them. We scored 3 points. Like, are you kidding me? I'm so done, man. They don't fire this dude. I don't like promoting firing coaches or whatever, but he got to go.
Listen, I get it. I get your frustration. Sometimes if you go on Twitter after a Suns game, you feel like the Suns are in the exact same position sometimes. By the way, people just completely overreact to wins and losses as if it is the NFL. So let's divert back to the team in the home state. Let's talk about the Suns. That game last night was rough to watch towards the end, especially considering DeMar DeRozan and Fox were just going crazy and really rallying the Kings to victory. Every time I think about the Kings and DeMar DeRozan, it's like DeMar, I see him, the less I like it, is basically the way I feel. He was unbelievable last night and really those two by themselves willed that team to victory. And there was a lot of things that you can take away from that game. Obviously, the injuries are starting to pile up for the Suns. Nurk is dinged up, Beal's dinged up, KD's out. That's gonna maybe have an effect here in the next week or so. But down the stretch, you could see that the Suns, they could have done some things to tweak and maybe double DeMar a little bit more, throw some actions at him. I know that Gerald Bourguet in the post game last night talked about how they did try to throw some wrinkles at them, but I mean, let's be real. Like we've seen this, and it didn't really look like there was too much of a wrinkle thrown at DeMar. Especially he got to his spots pretty easily and pretty comfortably. But listen, they had just won 7 games in a row. They were looking for their 8th. Like there's nothing to panic about necessarily. I think this is a team that is at the top of the Western Conference standing. They're the number 1 seed as we speak today, in addition to a lot of teams in the West that are really, really good. And you got to feel comfortable with where the Suns are, even despite the loss last night. Would you say you would agree?
Well, of course. I mean, look, they're 8-2. I mean, they have a tremendous start going. That's why I always say it's good to get off to a great start in the season, because you're going to have issues like they're developing right now. I don't know. Bradley Beal took a pretty big hit yesterday. I don't know if he'll be ready for the game in Utah. Nurkic has the ankle situation. I'd like to think that he'd be back with, maybe he got half off, and then he's going to get a full day here. Then he'll have half of the day to rest it up tomorrow. Maybe he'll be ready to go. But yeah, they got their issues. KD's out 2 weeks. Look, there's no woe is me. They did what they had to do, get off to a great start, because things are going to happen. And it's not major stuff, so you have to feel good about that, right? You have to take it. But the whole league, man, And I mean, dudes are going down like no other. It's just, and the crazy part is that they play a soft brand of basketball, right? I think at the end of the regulation, it was a total of 9 free throws attempted. I think at one point in time, as the game was going on, and we're talking deep into the second half. The Kings finally started getting to the line, but it's a soft game, a brand of playing, but yet guys are coming up with these injuries, which is tough. And it's, but we got to find a way to navigate it. We got a deep roster. We got to make this thing work. Try to stay above 500 on this run here, because we got some tough games coming up. I would have liked last night, to see more wrinkles thrown at DeRozan. I know it's in game. I'm sitting there watching, so sometimes it's difficult to jump it. But he's this era's version of Alex English. That's how I would say who DeRozan is. He's this era in the 80s era, regardless of the Magic, Bird, Dr. J, Moses Malone, Kareem, Dominique, MJ, 5 years in that 80s era, 6 years, by the way. Alex English led that era in scoring. Most people don't know that. Alex English scored the most points of any player in the 80s era. For 10 years, he had the most points. But he wasn't highly thought of a lot outside of the NBA. That's DeMar DeRozan, man. I'm telling you, this dude, he's going to average 20 in a season. He's going to have games where he's just ridiculously on target. And he was that way last night. I would have wished maybe a time or two we doubled him or something, man, because I don't care who was on him. I don't care how much duress he was under. He was in a zone. And when a guy like that gets in a zone, it's ridiculous. And they're fortunate to have another guy, when he did get fatigued, he just gave him the ball in De'Aaron Fox, and he did the same thing. I said before the season, if the game is close, the Kings this year will beat a lot of teams because they got 2 of the best closers in the NBA on their ball club. They have 2 of the best closers. One that goes left and you can't stop him in Fox, and one that goes right in DeRozan. And it's just a double whammy. And that's why the Suns had an 11-point lead, Saul. And DeRozan checks back into the game. He hits a deuce. He hits a 3, I think, or it was close to a 3. He gets fouled. And all of a sudden, it was like a 5-point game, and then we couldn't make a shot. We had some good open shots and all of that, and they were able to get all the way back in the game. Yeah, we had a chance to win. And let me mention this too. It goes back to that call at the end. Like, a lot of people were happy and excited that the foul occurred on Devin before the ball was thrown in.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to the telecast, I was not.
Yeah, I didn't like it either.
I was not happy that it happened that way, because I felt more comfortable in Devin going to the free throw line and knocking down 2, put us up 1, and now they got 3.9 to win the game. You see how difficult it was for Devin to win the game with 3.9. So I would rather them have to do that, right? Have to try to score in 3.9. And so, yeah, so it didn't really go our way. People might like, oh, yeah, we tie in, and then now we can win the game. We got the ball. Yeah, but then it goes to overtime. I'd rather us be 1 up, right, in hopes that Devin makes the 2 free throws, and now they gotta make a shot to either win the game or lose the game. So, yeah, so it was tough. That was a tough one. Those are the ones during the course of the year I'm going to hate to lose, and we're going to lose a few of those, obviously. But that one last night, I felt, as bad as we played, shot the ball, we still had a chance to win. And that's what I'm impressed with.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I never feel like in any of these games we've ever felt, even in the losses, have we felt overmatched or we don't have the personnel to be able to match up. Sometimes you run into situations or teams or moments where, hey, listen, you got to give the other team credit for how they executed down the stretch. They got DeMar DeRozan for a reason. It's because they needed somebody else to help close games besides just De'Aaron Fox. And listen, it paid off. And the Kings are going to be one of those teams at the end of the season that are going to be right up there in probably the top 6 in my estimation. That's my prediction, because I think that they are plenty good in a variety of different ways. Stylistically, they can match up, with a lot of teams. I think, Sabonis in the paint, if you're facing a team that has a pretty dominant big, that might present a few issues, but his scoring and his versatility and playmaking ability kind of minimizes that to a degree. And they're a good team. Like, and again, like, it's not like the Suns just lost, they choked against the Sisters of the Poor. Like, this is a good basketball team in Sacramento, and they have been for the better part of the last 3 or 4 seasons since Mike Brown got over there. So I'm not despondent over the loss. Yeah, you should have won that game 1,000,000%. Yeah, and that sucks. But that's the NBA. Like, that's going to happen.
Yeah,
we're gonna find ways to steal games on the road or even at home in games that we really had no business winning. Like, that's just going to happen a couple times this season. So the ebbs and flows are cool, but the biggest thing is the consistency of your team. Can they perform at a high level, consistent enough? And I think the Suns are there.
Yeah, they just got to beat the teams they're supposed to beat. Now, obviously, going to Utah compromised, but it'd be good they get this win. Like I said, they got a tough little schedule coming up here, and they got Minnesota and Oklahoma City on this road trip. They got Sacramento again. So they could somehow, if they finish over 500, that'd make them, 3-1 on this trip. That'd be great. But if they could finish 2-2 on this trip, that would be a huge get. And even because they are playing 3 teams, that's very tough.
And even OKC is now they just got hit with the injury bug. Obviously, if you don't know, Chet Holmgren out with a hip. I think I don't know how to pronounce the word, like lipsis or something like that. Basically, a fracture in his hip, which is going to hold him out for 6 to 8, even maybe up to 10 weeks. That's a significant blow for OKC because Chet was playing at a high level. Like, he was playing really good basketball. So that's a big blow for them. And so everybody's going to kind of go through these moments. They're going to have their ups and their downs. It's just the way it is.
We didn't go through this back when we played. Like, I'm just trying to figure this out, man. This is such a conundrum. It's a conundrum, man, that I just don't understand. Like, I'm watching that starting 5 deal. That's a great show on Netflix if you haven't watched it. They got Sabonis, LeBron,
Tatum.
Anthony Edwards, Tatum on it, and I think it's a great show. But they talk about, all the things these guys do, in regards to taking care of themselves and their body and all of that. And I just don't know, man. Like, yeah, I had one major injury in my career. I played over 1,200. I played 1,200 games in my career, 17 years. I had one major injury. I had a quad tendon repair, which really just came about because of just overusage. I didn't hurt it in a particular game. It's just I was just old, and it caught up to me, and wear and tear got me right. Along the way, I never sprained an ankle in my entire NBA career. I twisted it, but I never missed a game because of a sprained ankle. It's just the things that these players are like getting injured from. And, they always look at the new stuff. Like, are the shoes really better? Or are they just look good? You know what I'm saying? So, like, do they just look good?
Yeah.
Or are they really structurally better for your feet? Because we're seeing turned ankles all the time. Like, we're just seeing these things, different things, man. But yet, you got the nutritionists, you got the massage therapists, you got the trainers, you got all these people that look after the players. But yet, man, they're missing games, man, for stuff that I never even heard of. Like, I'm serious, man. It's strange for me. That's all. Like I said, I played in the 80s. But I played with an elbow that was big as Saul's head. And I went out there and I played and I had 30. Like, is the pain tolerance like better back then when I played? It's just something, man, that need to be researched because it's tough, man. I'm seeing too many guys like oblique. Like, I never even heard of an oblique when I played. Like, you get me? Like, I didn't. So it's just, man, I don't know, man. It's like, I think they need to have somebody on the staff that's like a pain person. Like, you send a player in a room and you just beat the living crap out of him, see if he can take the pain. Just like,
Like
hit him, push him around.
Like
so
when boxers are getting prepped for their fights, and they got the stick guy that's hitting them in the abs just to get them tight.
Yeah, so they can develop some pain tolerance. Like, I developed trigger finger, which is kind of weird. I never heard of it, right? Well, my finger was getting stuck. So, like, I opened my hand, but my finger wouldn't open up, right? And I never heard of trigger finger. And I'm like, what the heck is wrong with my hand? Like, this is sticky, And I was waking up every morning and I couldn't do it. So, man, I went and got I had to get a steroid shot in my hand. And look at it now. It's nice. I love it now. But, it hurt, man. But he was like, you want me to numb it up? Man, stick me. Man, I'm not taking any medicine. There ain't no pause. You got a disturbed mind. Like, go ahead and stick this thing in my hand, man. Let me get it over with. Like, I don't need you. I don't need the medicine. So, do you realize one time I had knee surgery? That's what he called it. Because I had scar tissue in my knee from my surgery, and it was bothering me.
Mm-hmm.
And I did it without going to sleep. Like, I literally sat there on the table, and I watched this man go on my knee and do that. Now, I will never do it again.
Nope.
Because I didn't like the smell. The smell of burning skin is disgusting.
Yeah, it's gross.
And he warned me about it. But I was like, no, man, I don't want to go to sleep, man, because back then, you remember, it wasn't that propofol. It was that other stuff. Mm. And that stuff, man, like, I didn't wake up. Like, they had to, like, literally, like, because I had to get it, like, I had my wisdom teeth taken out one time and all that. So they had to go, So they had to really try to wake me up. I just wouldn't wake up. So I woke up in the middle of this doctor like slapping me. Like he literally was slapping me to wake me up. And I don't know, my reaction is somebody's hitting me. So I woke up and slapped him. You know what I did? He about fell down. I woke up, I was like, wow, I didn't know. I'm never taking that, that stuff again. So yeah, EJ had surgery right there, wide awake. Look, it was
crazy.
Disgusting and nasty, but I did it because I could take the pain.
It's different, man.
It's different, man. It's different.
It's just different. Listen, we're going to talk about how different the Western Conference is from the Eastern Conference is here in a second after this break. Our folks at Branded Bills are trying to take care of you. They took care of EJ last week. EJ got 2 brand new, beautiful Branded Bills hats, a white, beautiful Arizona flag hat, and a black one as well.
My bad.
And, I hooked him up. I told him I was going to hook him up last week. I did it right after the show. And he's supporting his Helping Hands for Single Mothers hat. But look at this beautiful thing right here. That is a beauty right there. You can get yourself that hat 20% off by going to brandedbills.com. And listen, folks, it's not just that hat. They have that hat. They have it in different styles. They have different fabrics. They have different looks. So you can get that not only in the white, you can get it in black. You can get it in gray with the state flag. I have one that's black with the turquoise state flag. And they got a bunch of other cool things. Also, soon to come, some PHNX branded Bills hats will be soon coming to your shop near you. So check it out. Elevate your brand with Branded Bills, the perfect headwear and apparel. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, or tees, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. And that's cool too, because the tees they've started to get into, and it's really, really cool. They have some really cool merch out there. You just got to go check it out because not only does it look good, it feels good. It's breathable. It's just perfect Arizona wear. There's no other way to say it. It's just perfect for you, perfect for your family. Hey, listen, Black Friday's coming up. They're probably going to have some deals on there as well. So hook yourself up by going to brandedbills.com. Use promo code PHNX to save yourself up to 20%. They have partnerships with ASU, U of A, the Suns. And so just add their campus collection to your repertoire. They're a local company. You always want to buy local because we want to support our Arizona peeps. They're from Mesa. You're going to love them. Again, head to brandedbills.com and use promo code PHNX for 20% off your first order. Also, just a shameless plug, PHNX Suns takeover for the very first Valley Suns game tonight. I don't know if there's any more tickets left. I do believe we might be sold out now. There was only 2 tickets as of Friday. So it's going to be a tremendous experience. The whole gang's going to be out there having a great time. So check them out. Listen, it's a new era in the Valley in terms of the G League. Playing down there at Mullet, it's great. So check them out. Go out there. Go to the website. Go phnx.com. Check out all the events that we have. There's so many cool events. So have a good time. You get a discount if you become a diehard. So hook yourself up. All right. The West is brutal, EJ. Just absolutely brutal. How brutal is the West? Okay. In the Western Conference, there are 11 out of the 15 teams that have a 500 or better record. EJ, How many in the East? Can you see that on the screen?
Well, I know it's only 2 teams.
Only right? 2 teams have with a 500 or better record in the East. 2. Yeah. That is a disparity unlike I've ever seen before. 11 in the Western Conference, 2 in the East, led by your Suns in the Western Conference right now as we speak today at 8-2. And it's just, I mean, listen, the Western Conference as a whole, we knew it was going to be brutal. We knew it was going to be tough. I don't think people realize how tough it really is. And when you look at this graphic, it really shows you that there are no off nights when you're playing in the Western Conference whatsoever.
Well, so I'll take a different point of view than what you're saying. Like, what we want in any league is parity, right?
Yes.
So we have parity throughout the league. And here's why. In the West, you got teams that got off to a great start. But you also got teams that's only a game or two behind those three teams that had a great start. Okay? In the East, it's not like that. You have two teams that are pretty much, trying to run away, correct? But 3 through 11, okay, or even 12, okay, or even 13, or even 14, or even 15, is still in the running. The team with the worst record in Toronto, all right, is only 3 games behind
Indiana,
the team in the 4th spot.
In the 3rd
Think
spot.
about that. 4th spot, because Orlando's 6 behind Boston, and then the Raptors are 9.
Indiana's 5-5, and Toronto's
5.5. But they're 5.5. But they're 5.5 back. So I didn't want to use them. So that's why I say I went to 6. Okay, but you can add 3. You can. They're 3.5 behind Indiana. Okay, you're correct. I wanted to stay with the number 3, but if you want me to go 3.5, we can do that. So I mean, if that's what you want,
we'll split.
But so that's parity. It might be parity in a mediocre, semi-mediocre way, but it's parity, right? So everybody still, in my opinion, has a chance. That's what you want. So yeah, the Washington Wizards, who probably could wind up with the worst record, them in Toronto, after 8 games, their fans still have hope that they can maybe make the play-in. You get it? So they'll show up. They have a reason to still show up. If you eliminate it, you don't have a reason. Like the Bears still have a great chance to make the playoffs, but I'm pretty much giving up. You get me? Like, but I won't watch it as intently now the rest of the season. I won't. But if they start winning, then I'll come back in. Now people might say, "Oh, you halfway in, halfway out." No, it's not. I've been a diehard Bear fan my entire life. I can do it. Other people can't. Okay, I can do that. I don't want to look at them right now. They disgust me right now on the offensive side of the ball. So no, but it's parity, man. I like it. If it's going to be bad in the conference, let it be bad for a number of teams so they can all have hope, and that allow the fans to still have hope.
I get that. It's kind of like back in the day when the Seahawks made the playoffs at 7-9, and that whole division was terrible. Like, hey, but everybody still had hope towards the last 3 weeks of the season, because even if they were, 5-8, they still felt like they had a chance. So,
right.
In the West specifically, there's been some surprises. I think there's been, listen, Golden State, even after Steph Curry had to miss some games, I don't think, I know people think Steve Kerr is a great coach, but I don't think Steve Kerr gets his due for being as great a coach on the caliber as the other greats as he should, because them being 8-2 right now, when everybody else thought, oh, Steph's gone, they're going to be okay, but they're not going to be great. And them still being, listen, they're tied with the Suns at the top of the Western Conference right now. That's pretty remarkable. That's kind of my surprise team so far. I'm a little disappointed. I thought San Antonio might be a smidge better, and I thought the Clippers would be actually worse. But everything is playing out to where these coaches are doing a fantastic job of getting their teams prepared on a night-to-night basis. You got to give Ty Lue, like, we've played the Clippers twice. They battled us tough both games. It's been a brutal, contest each time. He has those guys always prepared, always ready to go. Steve Kerr, same thing with the Warriors. They have a system in there that has just been, flawless. It feels like, if you have the right pieces, you can execute it at a high level. That's what the Warriors are proving time in, time out. Who's been kind of the team that has kind of surprised you, or, maybe even disappointed you?
Well, obviously the team that's surprising is Cleveland. I knew Cleveland would be good.
I was talking about just the Western Conference.
Oh, in the West.
We'll get to the East in a second. Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right. Really, out of the top 6 teams, I'm not. Golden State is the team that surprised me. There's no way I thought they'd be 8-2 at this point. There's just no way. I look at their roster, man. I just, look, do they have the talent to do it? Probably. Like Wiggins, if he ever woke up and it seems like he's awakened this year for this short period of time, okay. Kuminga, can he improve to get to a certain point? Okay. You know what Steph's going to bring. You know what Draymond's going to add to the team. But you look at that roster and you say after losing Clay, you're like, Buddy Hield, last year looked like he couldn't shoot anymore. So now he's having a tremendous early start to his career with Golden State.
Do you feel like maybe because Clay left inadvertently? I know this wasn't probably a cause and effect situation, but do you think maybe there's some psychological, kind of a reasoning why Wiggins has all of a sudden picked it up now that maybe, Clay's gone? Maybe he doesn't have to, for lack of a better word, look over his shoulder and know that Clay's going to come in every single time like he maybe has a bad game and that he could just play.
Maybe, but also Wiggins is obviously, you don't know, like we only see these guys like 2.5 hours, right? I'm fortunate to travel with the Sun, so I see them a little bit more. I'm around it. I'm around the tenor of what's going on in the organization. But for me to look into any other organization and from a fan perspective, you only see these guys for 2.5 hours. That's why I like this Starting Five show on Netflix, and I encourage people to go watch it because they give you the behind the scenes of what these players actually go through. Like 2 hours, you see them, but it's 22 hours, you never see them, right? And if they got days off in between, it's 36, 72 hours. You never see them. And they live in a normal life doing things like you do every day, going through issues every day, family, what have you, relationships, all of that, right? Money does not make you happy. And so you get an opportunity to see it, right? And, like when you look at the Warriors now, you see that, they're really bonding. And Wiggins seems to be on board, but he went through it, man, over the last number of years. I mean, like in personal stuff that happened, he lost his dad. Mitchell Wiggins that was his dad. It's a hell of a basketball player. And losing him, I just know, man, in my life, when I lost my brother, I couldn't even play for like 6 months. I mean, like I didn't care. And, that happened to me in college, my sophomore year, where, I really struggled, man. And it's carried forward. I mean, I remember him every day. I think of him every day. But that was hard on me. And so, I think Wiggins maybe has gotten to a point now where, he's balanced everything and he's able to persevere through it. And that's why he's playing well. But ultimately, it's Steve Kerr. I think Steve Kerr, you got to give him his due, man. Dude coaching his butt off, man. Like, he's got these guys playing at a high level, man. Defensively, he's playing 12 guys. So they've surprised me. Without a doubt. I'm not shocked at what Memphis can do. I said it there, and they're not even healthy 100%. But I said if Memphis is healthy, I wouldn't want to see them in the playoff series. I just wouldn't.
I'm telling you, Zach Edey, you said it before, like you thought he would be a great fit for Memphis. And so far he's been as advertised, in my opinion. Like, yeah. He benefits that team a lot. He
really does. I mean, he's huge, man. Look, dude's got a nastiness about him. He's the tallest dude in the league. I mean, if you can walk and chew gum and you got tall and you have a decent skill set, you got good foot, you got good balance, right? You're mobile. I mean, why can't you be a significant threat if you're coached the right way? And Taylor Jenkins is one of the best coaches in the league. So I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at Memphis at all. But on the negative side, I guess I'm a little surprised probably, with Dallas, but they've had their injuries. But I didn't pick them to finish high in the standing this year. I think I picked them to be around 6, even though they went to the finals last year. But I am surprised that they haven't been able to, get themselves right. And Kyrie and Luka have been playing. That should be enough. PJ Washington's down now. Lively has been injured. So everybody's injured right now. So you can't make excuses. But yeah, I'm a little surprised with them. Pelicans, they just can't stay healthy. They're the most snake-bitten team in the league.
Yeah, I mean,
with
Zion,
health, man.
Zion's always
But,
injured.
but it's all of them are always
in a row without getting injured.
Yeah, it's just snake-bitten. Yeah, so that's what I would say in the West.
In Dallas, to me, I feel like Dallas is one of those teams where you just can't really pay attention to their regular season record. As long as they get in the playoffs, they're always going to be a threat. And I feel like they always try to figure it out as they get to the playoffs. And listen, it backfired on them a couple seasons ago when they completely missed the playoffs and they were kind of tanking. But I just Dallas is always going to be that dangerous team in the playoffs if you have to match up, because they got two guys that can close out games. And if you have two guys that can close out games, much like we just talked about the Kings, the Suns have two guys that can close out games. They have three, for crying out loud.
I would say three.
That's a legitimate thing. So you always got to be concerned about that. In the East, listen, I think everybody's been disappointing in the East. The Knicks are my number one disappointment in the East, because there's no reason why they should be 4-5. Like, they should have, they have a core that should be solid. But as I said before the season, I didn't think that the Cat trade was going to take them to another level. I just thought it was either a lateral move, or maybe stylistically, because of Tibbs, would it really match up? I wasn't quite a believer. Well, they're 4-5 right now, and and they're struggling. They've had their situations, and
but it's not his fault. It's not his fault. I tell you that. Okay. And look, when they made that trade, when the Knicks made that trade, I think I think the Timberwolves got the best of it, because what it did, it made them a position basketball team instead of they weren't one, with Cat and Gobert out there together. But now Randall is a prototypical power forward. DiVincenzo off the bench, a solid 6-man. It gives Rudy Gobert now more of an opportunity to prove that he's a center and he's not going to be looking over his shoulder. I think, and they've struggled somewhat. Trades that close to the beginning of the season can set you back some. But so I did think Minnesota got the best of it. But I also said, if Brunson allowed the hierarchy to be what it should be, then the Knicks would be fine. And I think he struggles with that. I think he's trying. I do. I think he's trying. But I think he struggles with it. Like I said, Brunson cannot be Brunson of last year. That's like a one-off, man. Like, you had a great year. You shot the ball all the time. You all got to the second round of the playoffs. We get that. But if you want to go to the next level, a 6-foot point guard is not leading you to that. I don't care. He's not. Like, the years of the Isaiah Thomas, that's why Isaiah Thomas is one of the greatest players ever. Because you're not going to see too many 6-foot basketball players take you to a championship. You're just not going to see it. Okay? It's difficult to do. And Brunson needed to take a back seat. And I think lately he's starting to recognize that, but it's still work in progress. Yeah. Because I think he's got to lean into Mikal Bridges more too. Yeah. Like, Mikal can score, get him the ball more. Karl Anthony Towns right now, look, he's shooting 53% from the field. He's shooting 53 from 3, 87 from the line, averaging 24. Okay? He's their best player. Like, if they're going to win, it's going to go through him. He's averaging 12 rebounds a game. He is playing first team all league basketball right now. Okay? So it's not on him. The trade was a great trade. The grade was a great trade.
Not saying it is. I just thought stylistically the pieces had to mesh well together, and I couldn't see how Brunson, Mikal, and company and Cat were going to be able to come together, because Tibbs is not like, I don't know. Tibbs to me is a defensive guy, right? Like, I just didn't see offensively how they were going to be able to gel together, because Brunson's not like a high level facilitator. he scores a lot. He's a scoring point guard. And
Think
so
about it.
that's a change.
Yeah, you're right. Saul, you're correct. With that offensive talent that he had on this team, right? You think about it, he's out there with 5 guys that can score the ball. Josh Hart, he can score it in his own way. He's only averaging 6.5 assists. That's what he averaged. With that kind of talent, like, no, that shouldn't be it.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shouldn't be it. He should be better at it. And I agree with you. He's not a pure point guard. And that was pretty obvious by the way that he plays.
Yeah.
Like, so think about this. Tyus Jones is our point guard. He's averaging 6. Devin's averaging 7. Okay? So we have 2 guards that's, pretty much, and Devin lately is probably immersed as our backup point guard now. And so not to say that Monty is not going to get his shot again. I'm sure he will. But that's how it goes. But, yeah, Brunson is not. So, yeah, I agree with you on the Knicks. I think it's been work in progress, but I think they'll find a way to turn it around.
Listen, we're gonna give you something that you're gonna learn from, folks. We got a little special segment that I'm about to cue EJ up for after this break. But first, let us tell you about the greatest convenience store of all time, Circle K. Our good folks at Circle K always try to do whatever they can to give back. And if you download the Inner Circle app, they're going to give you all the discounts. They're going to get you some gas money. Or they're going to get you to save some gas money, I should say. 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups once you sign up for the Inner Circle app. Plus, on top of that, you get all these great rewards, these deals. You get Polar Pops Frosters for just 79 cents, 69 cents if you use your Inner Circle app or your member ID, which is great. Listen, Circle K, there's so many locations. You're going to drive by one basically every mile, it seems like. They're everywhere you can possibly go. And the cool thing is listen, this is no disrespect to Circle K. The great thing is they are really taking some time to invest in their convenience stores. And so if you've noticed, some of these Circle Ks have gotten bigger. They've gotten a little bit fancier, if you want to say. Like they've really enhanced the experience for the customers because they really care about you. So check out Circle Ks. They're great. Snacks. You get hooked up on snacks. You get deals all the time. If you have the Inner Circle app, they're constantly sending you alerts to all kind of hookups and deals that you can get. On my drive into work, basically, I get gas and I grab a coffee because my first 5 drinks are free on the Inner Circle app. So why not take advantage of that? It is America's thirst stop. Enjoy your member exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle members like you can get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. All right, EJ, we're going to teach the people some things because I have a question for you, sir. We've talked about it at length in the offseason when Oso Ighodaro got drafted. The main thing that was kind of alarming to me was how does a guy get to the league shooting like this? I don't really understand how that's even possible, which means that he's clearly great at everything else, or at least very good at everything else, right? Like we've seen him be a substantial defender. He's a good, he's a good facilitator. He's a very athletic kid. Good for him. Great. But the form on that jump shot, one more time, Shane, if you wouldn't mind, the form on that jump shot, as you can see, is not great. And I don't understand. We've seen guys in the league that have had, quirky kind of forms, right? But this is a little different because if you watch him in games, anything outside of the key is a really difficult task for him. He's really got a shot, put the ball towards the rim. He does these like floaters, and sometimes those floaters are coming from like 16, 17 feet out because clock is running down, and that's what he's forced to do. How do you fix that? And can you fix that?
Yeah, you can definitely fix it. But he's got to want to fix it. Remember Plumlee? Plumlee was a right-handed free throw shooter.
True.
Now he shoots left-handed. He shoots them better. You can fix it. Mikal Bridges had a flat jump shot when he got in the league. Fixed it. Mari Stoudemire, flat jump shot. Fixed it. It can be fixed. Without a lot of doubt, it can be fixed. But you got to want to fix it. And it takes a lot of work. You got to break a guy down. It's kind of difficult to try to do it during the course of the season.
What would be your process to break him down and then build him back up? Like, this is day one of the offseason. What's EJ's plan to get Oso right?
I would get him in the gym, and I'd really like just talk to him first. Like, what I would do, go to lunch with him, and just sit away from the court. And I would just ask him, just different questions. Like, what's in your mind when you go up to shoot the ball? Like, it's almost being a psychologist, like putting him on the couch and just try to get to what he's thinking about before he actually shoots the ball. Like, some people have that in every walk of life. You got some people that can speak extremely well. They can formulate their thoughts when they're in a one-on-one conversation with somebody, but you put them in front of a group, they all of a sudden start to get nervous. They start to stutter. They start to be indecisive, and they don't sound right? So I've seen many people that can speak well, but you put a camera in front of them, then all of a sudden you're like, ugh. Like, it's a struggle, right? And so, some people just aren't made for certain things, right? But you got to find a way to fight through it. So I would try to get to the crux of what he thinks about before he shoots. And like last night, I know he likes the little floater, right? But last night he made a good one, and then he short-armed another one. And I mentioned during the telecast, I said he should lock in to how he's going to shoot that shot every time. Mm-hmm. And shoot towards the back of the rim. That's it. And if it comes back off long, you have a chance to get the rebound. So aim at the back of the rim instead of trying to aim right over the front of the rim. Coaches out there sometimes teach shooting, like shoot to over the front of the rim, think swish. I'm like, no. Mm-hmm. You think rotation, you think ball going down from gravity, you think back of the rim. Aim for the back of the rim. But some shooters have shot well doing that. So, but it's just that mindset he has to develop. So I would just break him down to, that's why it had to be in the off season. Because you get a guy trying to do that in the regular season, it just mess him up totally. Yeah. But I just I take him back to when I taught my son how to shoot, when I learned how to shoot. Yeah. I tell him to lie in the bed every night for about an hour with your ball, just lie with your back, laying up and shoot the ball up at the ceiling. Yeah. And just remember the form. Yep. And do about 1,000 of them until you just get tired and you go to sleep. I used to do that every day. Once I realized that I was shooting wrong, I was shooting from the hip and all of that. Once I realized that, I emulated like Rick Barry and great players that could shoot, and I just lay in the bed and I just memorize it. Yeah. And sooner or later, you go on the court, you all of a sudden you're starting to do it. And so that's what I would do for him. It would be like Rocky type stuff. Like he'd probably look at me like, and that's not the way I've been taught when I was trying to get taught. Yeah, because you got some of these dudes out there that's trying to teach you these weird ways because they think they're unique, but they're not unique. No. Shooting the basketball is simple. There's books out there that teach it. And that's what I would do with him, man. And I would do that with any player.
I would throw this in too. The great Sammy Dwayne, for those of you who don't know, he's one of the legendary high school basketball coaches in Arizona. Was the head coach at Corona del Sol and won multiple state championships. But one of the things, I went to one of his basketball camps when I was in high school, and one of the things, it seems so elementary, but to this day, like I always think about the fundamentals of just the placement of your hands and form and everything like that. And basically what he had us all do was take a basketball and you would find the seam. So it would be seam it, right? And then you would pull the ball up and you kind of cock it, right? So it'd be like seam it and then cock it and then guide hand and then bend my knees and then shoot and follow through. And when you would do that, in a perfect world, if everything's in alignment and you shoot the ball, and you would always have to have that right foot or your left foot, if depending on what hand you were on a line, and that ball, when you release it and it comes back down, should hit on the line, because then that means you everything was in alignment and your rotation was good and everything like that, right? And I feel like even something as simple as that, right, starting from those basics and then moving your way out, and developing the skill and the art of shooting. I don't know if, listen, I'm sure he's played tons of basketball games. He's played tons of pickup ball, but he's always been so athletically gifted that he's been able to find his way around it, right? In the NBA, at some point, if you're going to be a high level / great player, you are going to have to find a way. Now, there's very few in this league that have been great, despite the fact that they have had one like crucial weakness, right? The number one person I always think of is like Dennis Rodman, right? Dennis Rodman, not a tremendous shooter. He could shoot, like his form wasn't terrible, but like he wasn't anywhere near consistent enough to be like considered a reliable shooter, right? But he was so great at rebounding and defense that it eliminated everything else. Oso's not really at that level in any one of his skill sets to be able to justify playing him for 30 minutes a night, if you're hoping that he's going to achieve that greatness. So my challenge to Oso is if you want to be great, you're going to have to find a way to be able to score the ball, and you're going to have to work on that shot a lot more in the offseason. And I mean, I do think it would be a relentless boot camp type of transition for him to get to that point.
Well, it's not. But I would tell you, it's not as bad as it looks, because he is a basketball player and he's learned to do a lot of things great on the basketball court, which means that he's able to grasp what you're trying to tell him. And then what you said is great, but what I was saying initially is you start at rock bottom, and I wouldn't even start with him even gripping the ball. So, I mean, you said the right things in regards to how the guy was teaching you, but what you have to also add in is the shot starts with your legs. It starts with the position. It starts with your knee bend. It starts with your body and how you're shaped up and all of that. And then it gravitates to the ball actually in your hand. To me, that's the easy part. The hard part is to get you to feel comfortable in a new body alignment and how you're going to execute the shot.
Yeah.
And so the other part with the ball in your hand, seams and making sure left hand is just there for balance and all of that. Try to get the elbow in the L shape. But all people can't have an L shape. All right, because bodies are made differently. If you look at old pictures of me, my L shape was perfect. That's when I was young and I was thin. But when I started lifting weights a little bit, my body changed as I got older, got hit and all of that. My elbow wasn't as straight in the L as it used to be, but it was still good enough. And so it's those type of educational mindsets that should be taught players. But a lot of these players aren't taught that. They're not, man. And they put more emphasis on dribbling than shooting.
Yeah,
they truly do. And it's just so he's gonna. You're right. He's gonna have to figure it out, or he's just gonna be that guy that they just pencil in for certain situations. If he ever wants to be an everyday player, as they would say in baseball. So if he'd like to be an every minute player in basketball, in every situation, he's going to have to improve that. But he's among a lot of guys in the league that's like that. So he's not the only one.
no, I know
a lot of guys that you just can't have on the court in certain situations.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another episode of Outside Shots. Oso, call 1-800-EJ, and he'll help you out with your jump shot. We appreciate you all for joining us today. Make sure you follow the Suns at PHNX. Subscribe to the that like button on your way out. Follow Jumpshot 8 on Twitter. You can follow me at Saul_Bookman as well. We appreciate your time. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Monday morning. Happy Veterans Day to all of you out there. Please help the homeless veterans out there. That's a major thing in this country that needs a lot of assistance. But until next time,
right.
appreciate you all. Peace.
Peace.